We chose the theme of resilient leadership because of what our nation and the world have been going through in these last few years. This has been a social and medical and physical nightmare for the world, and we have watched people in our community rise to the challenge in so many different sectors.
We need to acknowledge these leaders for what they've done. In the healthcare field, the politicians, the faith leaders, it's really, truly an incredible group.
You know, when we look back on the last couple of years and COVID, which is still here and still taking its toll, we never stopped. Regardless of what was going on in the world, when somebody has passed, we get a phone call. We have just continued to do what we do regardless of any circumstance.
What we tried to do each day was remain balanced, give out good information, and then identify where there was gaps in services for our vulnerable in our community. I try to keep that demeanor, that calm demeanor, that we're going to get through this. And this is something that we can do. And each day is going to represent a new opportunity for you to be the best in your field that anyone has ever been, because nobody has ever had to do what you had to do that day. And I know, looking back at it, that our team met that challenge and met that moment every single day. When I look at what we all had to go through over the last, right now, year 3 of a global pandemic, all the different challenges people had in their professional lives, their personal lives, understanding that decisions being made one day will have negative outcomes on another day, but they were necessary at the time, and that we're going to have more work to do once we get through those dark days. There's so many leaders in this community at every walk of life that were resilient, and part of that is making sure that you are taking care of your vulnerable. And that definition of who was vulnerable over the last 3 years was expanded by thousands and thousands of people.
It was a challenge, and in some ways a puzzle, and in a lot of ways a real growth opportunity, because I think we know things as a college about how to do our jobs better.
We're living in times of great extremes, politically, socially, and economically. And a resilient leader stays focused on mission and accomplishing the next step, despite the challenges swirling around that seek to overwhelm. And so it's that fierce commitment to mission and that clarity of purpose, which is the hallmark of all resilient leaders.
I think to be resilient means that we can be adaptive, we can be flexible, we can demonstrate that we can do this. And I know that we used the term in our district, stronger together, that we would need each other in being resilient. We want our children to become resilient so that when they do have challenging times, they do have the confidence, the courage, and the stamina, the perseverance to actually make it through those challenging times. Children only get to be children once. As adults, we have the responsibility of modeling for our children what is important and making those moments when they can smile meaningful.
It is being able to step up and serve those people that are relying on you. You treat everybody the same, with the same respect, the same dignity, the same caring, and it doesn't matter who they are or what the circumstance is, because they've all called you for help. And that's what we do.
The most important part is to have empathy for other people. When you touch everybody with kindness and with love, you continue to give them the dignity and the respect that they deserve. If they're at their most critical point, the kindness will show through. You have to be the voice of reason, and you have to stay calm to be able to do the work that we do at United Way, at InterFaith, at city government, because there's so many people looking for us to show them and lead them.
Leaders have to be great communicators, right? They have to be able to articulate very complex concepts, or concepts that are very foreign. Where the resilient part, I think, comes in is when there are alterations in your environment, things happen that you may not have expected, or assumptions that you may have made that turn out to not be true, or the problem is much more complex, or the scope of the problem is much greater than you expected, and there are requirements for changing decisions and needing to pivot and needing to rethink, and the ability to keep everybody on the bus despite all of the turns and diversions and potholes and things of that nature. I think that's where resiliency comes in.
You have to be sound in your faith, simply because we're dealing with unpredictability. And so there must be an assurance that if you remain steadfast, good will come of it. Love helps to facilitate trust. If people are going to follow you, if people are going to accept your leadership, they must feel comfortable that you're concerned about their well-being, not just from an authoritative position, but from the human connection, that you are authentic in your love for them and that it is visible and felt.
I know resilience is the theme, but I think they've been better than resilient. Resilient is sort of bouncing back when you get hit. They have been spectacular. I think they have bounced higher than when they started. And that is something that I think the community should be truly proud of and grateful for. It does represent a community that is vibrant, that is doing the right things, that we need to support and acknowledge so that more people will step up and see the direction as the correct direction that we honor, that we respect, that we want more of.
Receiving an award like this as the president of Onondaga Community College is particularly gratifying because this institution is deeply entwined with the future of this community. It's validating to the institution to be recognized. On a personal level, it's first of all really humbling because I don't do anything by myself. Just want to acknowledge that, there are about 600 people who work here, each of whom has an oar in the water all the time so that the boat keeps moving in the direction that allows us to provide the kinds of services we do for students.
It's really nice. It is kind of an affirmation from your community at large that what you've done has made a difference and it's recognized. We don't work on a normal schedule. We don't work on a normal time clock. When that phone rings, and some funeral homes are larger, some are smaller, at some point you're still going to be the person answering that phone, and you respond. So without the support of family and understanding of family, my wife especially, because the kids are now out of the house, you couldn't do it, and it keeps you going. So yeah, I do thank them.
On a personal basis, receiving this award is really a significant honor. I consider faith to be an important part of my life.
It means a lot because the mission of InterFaith is to bridge the spiritual gaps. We're all in need of some spiritual foundational piece, some component that enables us to behave beyond what our natural instincts call for, to enable us to be able to overcome our fears, to overcome our desperations, to overcome those things that have shaped our view of the world. And InterFaith courageously takes on that mission, which is probably the most challenging mission in society, and that is to bridge the gaps, to be able to see each person as whole and complete, whether they believe what we believe or not.
I'm appreciative of InterFaith for doing the work that they do, and I know that all of their clients are as well, because it's hard starting over anywhere. But when you have someone that basically holds your hand to get you to the point where you are self-sufficient, that's huge. I'm humbled and I'm very honored because I've been in this community my whole life. And I mean, there are a lot of people out here doing the work. So it humbles me, and it's a huge honor to be recognized by this organization.
Words matter, and the things you say matter, and how you say it matters, and who it's reaching and who it's not. And I'm always surprised when people say, oh, I saw you here, or I read something you wrote here. So to hear that there were people at a great organization like InterFaith Works listening and paying attention and finding value, I was just very after I got over my surprise, I was very humbled why I went into medicine and why I went into kind of focusing on making countermeasures against things that afflict all people. I felt good because they were very congruent. You know, the vision and the mission of InterFaith Works and why I embarked on this 30 years ago this summer. It just felt like it kind of came together, and I was very happy.
For nearly 50 years, InterFaith Works has been a shining light on a hill, fostering dialogue, understanding, and tolerance in our community. I'm deeply honored to be receiving this award, particularly in light of our challenging times, and particularly given the extraordinary leaders who are being honored here today.
I think what's really special about this award is a lot of the other people being recognized and the amazing work that they do and who they are. It's an emotional acknowledgement of really the hard times we went through, but we came out stronger. And now we're stronger because we are resilient. And it's what we do with that resilience moving forward, which is our next part of our legacies.